I'm delighted today to be speaking to Paul Welch. We're going to be talking about millionplus.com as well as the latest trends from the luxury asset sector. Welcome, Paul.
David, hi. I'm going to start with giving you a present. These are the world famous glasses cleaners, which is also my business card. It has all my details on, so you're never going to forget me. I'm always going to be with you, whether you like it or not.
As featured in the FT, I understand.
Correct, yeah. We were lucky to be featured in How the Super Rich Buy Their Homes and the world famous glasses cleaners, got to mention.
So for those who haven't seen the portal, why don't you tell us a little bit about millionplus.com and the idea that you had to set it up?
So Million Plus is like a luxury platform where clients can list things they want to sell above $1 million. So that may be jets, yachts, art, real estate, both on market and off market, because the super high net worth people, the billionaires of this world, would rather sell certain pieces off market without any publicity. And being an entrepreneurial person, self-made, I mean, when I set up my core business, which is the largemortgageloans.com business, I sold my house, my car, my boat, slept in the office, didn't have much money, and built the business deal by deal. And I wanted to get more high value transactions. So I came up with the idea of the brand of Million Plus. I met Alex Chesterman from Zoopla, and we rented their data and repositioned it as our own under Million Plus, so that when people were buying and selling property, 3 million, 5 million, we then had an opportunity to do the financing.
And how do you think it differs from portals that focus on single asset or single location? To have the breadth of scope must make it more interesting and enticing for clients.
Yes, I think the off-market piece is really beneficial because people can say, look, I've got this painting, or I've got a yacht, or I've got a car, but I don't want any publicity. So we can be aware of it, add it to the platform, but no one has access to it. So something we're doing now is we're adding, tell us what you're going to buy next. So in the next 6 months, you might be thinking, well, I'm going to buy a car, or I'm going to buy a jet or a yacht. And the plan is that as the platform develops further, people will be telling us what they're looking to buy. And then there'll be other people that'll be saying, oh, look, I want to sell this. So we'll be doing more matching of buyers and sellers discreetly. And obviously, owning largemortgageloans.com, we can do the financing of those transactions. Most people say, why do billionaires borrow? At the end of the day, if you can borrow money, historically, it was sub 1%, but now, rates are moving up and things are looking at 3+ kind of rates. You can normally, or they can normally get returns of 20 to 50%. So with some leverage on assets, it makes a lot of sense. Also, in real estate transactions in the UK market, you have to have debt to help with inheritance tax planning, and that has to be at the date of purchase completion. So using leverage has many, many benefits.
And what kind of trends are you seeing in the luxury asset sector? I mean, it's been widely reported, say through COVID, increase in private jet travel, yachts for holidays, things like that. Are you seeing that coming through?
Yeah, we are. I mean, you can't buy a new jet or a yacht, and some of those new planes and yachts are selling at premiums because wealthy people are not prepared to wait the 1 to 3 years for either their aircraft or their yachts to be built. And it's kind of interesting that some people I'm talking to at the moment are looking at doing different things with those assets. We're looking at tokenization. We're looking at aspirational ownership, where wealthy younger people don't necessarily want to own the super yacht at 30, 50, 100 million. They see it as not good for the environment, don't want to have the cost, but they still want to have access to what those things give you, and that's privacy.
So are you seeing with that younger type of clientele looking at lending against different types of assets, perhaps cryptocurrency, or looking at their personal balance sheet in a different way? Yes,
we are. I mean, we have got lenders that are both regulated in the crypto space that can provide leverage on Bitcoin, and we are seeing some of them register unique pieces on NFTs, tokenization. We're talking to clients about issuing gold-backed stable coins. So rather than have Bitcoin, which is a store of value, is the perception, by issuing a coin backed by gold and then tokenizing an asset. So if you had a piece of art, and let's say it's worth 10 million, you could sell 49% of that and have it as an NFT, but still retain ownership, but have some liquidity on the asset. But it's such a developing space. It's incredible how people are trying to find niches to operate within that sector.
And just coming back to the million plus site, I mean, what kind of traffic does the site generate? And from which countries are you seeing an audience?
Generally speaking, it's a global audience because if people are searching for a jet or yacht or real estate, if there's listing in the countries, and we have many pages where we're on the first page of Google for lots and lots of different assets, and the site presently is getting about 5 million impressions from Google and lots of traffic. And my biggest challenge is finding people that can translate some of the inquiries that we're getting. If it's Vietnam or Cambodia and things, I don't know many people that speak those languages, so thank God for Google Translate.
And what kind of assets are available on the platform?
Everything's there. I mean, we have cars, we have jets, we have yachts. Real estate is the core underlying asset and feature because that fits well with the largemortgageloans.com business. We have jewelry, rare and scarce items. We have lots of interesting things where people come to us to say, I'd like to sell this asset, but I don't want any publicity. And that's something where, we've signed very strict NDAs and things. It's incredible what people keep in their families that they have, that husband and wives don't know about, that they don't want them to know about. They might want to sell it because they need 3 million or 5 million, or they need a bit more liquidity in their own personal lives. And so art is a fascinating piece where we work with a number of art lenders, and the art market is a $21 billion market for lending on art pieces. So some of the auction houses we work with, if they can auction the asset, they will lend on the asset. So a lot of people, certainly youngsters, don't particularly like some of the old masters and the things their parents would have liked. And therefore, they feel kind of duty bound not to sell them, but sometimes want a bit of liquidity. So we see a lot of art-related transactions from the platform where younger people don't want to sell it because it's been in their family 100 years, but they need 10 million or 20 million to provide some liquidity for some other things they're doing.
And do you think that the fact that the younger consumers coming through are much more digital natives, the fact that, say, even in the art market, super traditional, but they might not do exactly as their parents have done, going to the traditional auction houses, they might find domains like yours a refreshing way of,
for us, when we're matching a buyer and seller, if you're auctioning things, your charges can be up to 25% of the value. So if you've got a 10 million piece, why pay someone 2.5 million for the privilege? Yes, you may have a fantastic brand and be backed by all the right people, but if you want to pay a listing fee, and sometimes we're listing items from £100 a month, and sometimes people list both on market and off market. We find most of the on market transactions are property related and other things like jets and yachts, but of a lower value. Once you start seeing unique pieces above 10 million, that tends to be more off market.
And perhaps you could tell us like how the transactions work. Are you matching the buyer and seller and then they're in direct contact and they go? Walk us through a typical transaction.
Sure, there's two main ways to do it. So in some cases, a family office may list an item for their client, and then they act as the point of contact directly, and they pay us a standard listing fee, which is a monthly premium to advertise, like an advert. And that would sit on the platform for a number of months, and that family office will field all inquiries, so we're not involved. We may help with the financing of a transaction if they find a buyer. That's one way. Another is some people don't want to be involved at all and ask us to field all the inquiries. And then in those cases, we probably would negotiate some sort of success commission-based role and a higher monthly premium to be doing that service.
Okay, and then your conversations with the buyer around financing would run in parallel, perhaps.
Correct.
So you kind of scope all that out.
Yeah, always. I mean, when you're buying things in kind of like 10 million plus world, proof of funds, letter of intent, legal representation to confirm that you're good for the money is kind of a sort of standard procedure, one of the first questions we ask.
And for sellers looking to take advantage of enhanced services to help them sell something perhaps more quickly or create more visibility, what can they do on the platform to make that happen?
So if they want publicity, we'd list it in the open market. We would probably add video content, create individual landing pages, create search engine optimization by content. We would possibly run a pay-per-click campaign around all the associated keywords of what they're trying to sell and be very, very targeted to help them sell that particular asset, whatever it may be. And it doesn't really matter whether it's a jet, yacht, art, cars, etc. If they're happy with publicity, we would do the same thing irrespective of asset class. If they wanted complete privacy, then something we're developing at the moment is asking our visitors, tell us what you're looking to buy next. They pay for that because we don't want hundreds of people sort of, filling up the database with, Joe Fred in the bottom of his garden shed, who's a 12-year-old kid saying, I want a Ferrari, which we have
you
learned.
Want verified participants.
Correct. So we're kind of adding tell us what you're going to buy next or what you would like to buy next, and then doing more matching and buying of items off market.
What type of intermediaries do you work with who have clients looking to buy and sell?
I mean, one of the main reasons for us, wanting to sponsor and partner with your amazing club was the fact that we can help most intermediaries, whether it's a tax advisor, a lawyer, accountant. We work with all fellow professionals because they all have clients that sometimes need either fast, quick money or have assets they'd like to sell discreetly.
And I suppose if you have a broker like a jet broker or yacht broker, that's just another way for them to generate a lead as well, is it, presumably? Like it helps them on their journey to sell assets.
Yeah, correct. And so I don't want to be a broker of jets and yachts and things. So for us, if you were in that profession, you wanted to list your 50 jets or your 50 yachts, you would pay a listing fee and all of those inquiries would come direct to you. I'm purely interested in the financing of the underlying assets. That's my key driver and the key reason why I created the platform originally.
And how do you see in the luxury asset sector social media being used? I mean, you mentioned using video on a landing page. A lot of the rules around how luxury assets are promoted are evolving as tastes from consumers evolve. What do you see from that perspective?
It's very interesting. I mean, just having recently been on the Elizabeth line, I was a bit disappointed that technology hadn't really evolved with building that new line. And same with luxury assets. A lot of people still want to deal via solicitors and still don't want publicity. So social media is all about being in the public domain. And unfortunately, when you're working with wealthy families, family offices, those clients want to remain anonymous. So for us, it's a transaction by transaction review and whether it's publicity or not. So for us, yes, we have access to all of the platforms, but the majority of the time, the clients don't want to be on them at all. Yeah. Which makes it really hard because if you've got an amazing piece you want to sell, I can't tell anyone. And that's super difficult. And that's why we've come up with tell us what you're going to buy next. So if we build a database of people, 50,000 a month, that their dream or their next purchase is going to be X, then we'll be able to match more confidential off-market buyers and sellers.
And is that where you see the future of the platform is going to be more of this bespoke, matchmaking through a portal? Everything
we do on Million Plus and with the financing business is bespoke and it's created for the individual, and it's just Million Plus is just an extension of our core underlying financing business.
And on the financing side, I mean, we're starting to see now interest rates ticking up. What do you see as the outlook for the financing of these luxury assets? Is there anything you're what are your projections as we go forward?
In terms of buyers of, say, real estate in London, if you're a dollar-based client or a dollar-based investor, your currency per se gives you a 15% advantage over a UK buyer. So if you then can negotiate a 10% discount, you're going to be buying London at a 25% discount to you and I. So in terms of what I see happening with interest rates, wealthy people will always buy, and depending on the currency movements of the underlying assets, and at the moment we're seeing a lot of dollar-based people buying assets and buying well and buying at a discount. Truly wealthy people, a lot of them are sat in cash. I was talking to a gentleman at the weekend, sat in 500 million of cash, waiting for the correction, waiting for opportunities to buy. I mean, for me, when you look at inflation, historically speaking, and I'm not economically qualified, interest rates historically have to be above inflation rates to control inflation. And it's kind of scary that, base rate could be 4% next year in the UK from its present today 1.75. And I don't think that's even going to be enough to deal with the challenges of inflation. And I think the challenges we face are huge. And so many people like my staff, et cetera, that we look after, not many people monitor their electricity readings. And I'm telling my staff, this is going off at a tangent here, but what's your reading when you go to bed at 10? And then get up in the morning, look at your electricity reading. What is it at 7 in the morning? Because whilst you're asleep, you're burning power. And if power is going to go from 1,000 to 6,000 as a guide for an average household, you need to know what it's going to cost you. So normal people are going to have a lot of pain. Wealthy people will always buy. Dollar-based investors, I'm seeing at the moment across all asset sectors, are taking advantage of either new build assets that have been built and haven't sold, or using their buying power from a currency perspective to buy.
We've got these events coming up in the autumn. The first one being on the 27th of September in Guernsey, which is your home base.
Correct.
It'd be interesting to hear a bit more about that.
Yeah, no, Guernsey, I was born and bred, so not many people know that I'm a local person. Really excited to get to know more fellow professionals on the island. I spend most of my time traveling the world. My two daughters are online, digitally educated, largely due to my eldest daughter's illness of the last couple of years. So we're learning to work and travel in different ways as a family. So Guernsey, I'm super excited to raise our profile about the $1 million+ business. Super excited for Miami and Dubai for different reasons.
Great. But I mean, Guernsey is a terrific place to live and do business. People I know on the island have been very bullish about the way they, for example, survived the pandemic and the way business is going to continue to grow. Are you equally positive on running a business on the island?
I am, but I think Guernsey has many challenges which it needs to sort of overcome, in my opinion. You only have a circle of talent that's there. So the population, I think, is circa 63,000. 2/3 of the population are over 55. So you've got an aging demographic. When I moved to Guernsey to look after my late father 6 years ago, we needed 10,000 people under the age of 30 coming to Guernsey the next day, living and working to look after the elderly. I just wish we could be bolder as an island and have a clear 10-year plan about where do we want to be, how we're going to be doing things. We need to enhance and accept technology. I think technology, generally speaking, when I look at the world right now, immigration rules are so strict, they haven't really kept up with the world. And also with technology, machine learning, etc. Living in Guernsey, we should be making more of drones. What's the capacity to move, import and export food, larger items? Could we be doing it from France? I know Jersey's invested £5 million in drone-related technology and transportation. So I mean, Guernsey's an amazing place. It's a beautiful place. It's a safe place. It could be outstanding, but the powers that be are very happy with how it is. I enjoy being there as a person and as a family. My children love it. My wife's from London, didn't want to be there, loves it, won't leave. I'm very lucky that we have access to some planes that get us in and out quickly. And David Heyman runs Channel Jets, which is a great business where you can fly privately at £800 an hour at cost. So if you've got some wings to get in and off when you like, it's amazing.
You're also traveling with us to Miami on the 20th of October. That's a real centre for luxury real estate, yachts, art, jets. What's your message, I suppose, for the US market or for intermediaries and clients based in Miami?
I mean, the main reason for us, supporting you and the event in Miami is that we need to have more fellow professionals in America, because right now we're seeing so many with a dollar buying power looking at south of France, London, and other real estate backed assets. And for us, we have some great banking relationships, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Citi, etc., RBC, City National Bank, who are all doing business there when we have lending requests to buy there. And with Miami, we work very closely with Aston Martin. They've got the Aston Martin residence branded there. So for us, it's a stepping stone to potentially opening an office in the near future.
Fantastic. And finally, we're going to be in Dubai together 3rd of November.
Yeah.
I know Dubai is a place you've traveled a huge amount.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit more about your activity in the region.
I mean, my sheikh in Bahrain, whose uncle's the king, has been amazing for me because he helped us with finding a solution for my daughter. $1.3 trillion of wealth creation is going to happen in the Middle East in the next kind of like 1 to 3 years. We're already seeing a lot of people in that part of the world buying London real estate. So as we saw in the last recession, 2008 and 9, where it's a lot of people from Singapore, Hong Kong bought London after that recession, I see the Middle East being that vocal point in the next 3 years. And with what's happening in Saudi in terms of their projects and how and what they're trying to build, we all have an opinion on various things, but the technology and how they're going to drive the future is incredible. And what Dubai is doing has always been amazing. So we see it as a great opportunity again to meet fellow professionals, and we are in the process of establishing an office there. We've hired some staff who are being trained in London at the moment, and we'll officially launch hopefully at some point in the next 6 months.
Well, terrific to talk to you today, Paul.
Thank
Look forward to sharing this interview and getting on the road with you and telling the Million Plus story through the autumn.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much indeed.